Joe. He'll walk you through the concepts on the go. If there's any advice you've got, see the show. Cowboy Joe. Cowboy Joe.
Oh, hey guys, Cowboy Joe here. Gonna help you through section 2.40. This is a recapitulation of my lecture. All right, this one's titled How Fast, and your goal by the end of this lecture is to be able to define velocity, differentiate between speed and velocity, and solve simple constant velocity problems. All right, so we learned how to collect data and use that data, distance time data, to create a position time graph. And we have a position time graph created here. And my question to you is, who's going faster, the red jogger or the blue jogger? And if you look at the lines, and the origin would be starting at the or the motion detector would be right there at the origin. You got to try to figure out which one is traveling faster, which one is covering a greater distance in the same amount of time. So if I could change this into pictures, we could actually look like right there and see a picture of two joggers. And they are about 1 meter apart. The red jogger is in front. So this happened right here at 1 second. So at 1 second, the red jogger was in front by about 1 meter, and that makes sense on our graph. This distance between this spot and this spot would be 1 meter. So now the red jogger was ahead by 1 meter. We can almost predict at 2 seconds, the red jogger is ahead by 2 meters. And if we could take a picture of that, it would look like this. The red jogger is ahead by 2 meters. So now I want you to calculate the slope for each line. Remember, slope is rise over run. The red jogger has that big triangle with the height of that triangle being measured with the vertical scale would be 6, and the run of that big triangle right here, let me highlight it, the run would be 3. So 6 is the height, that would be the rise divided by the run. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the red jogger would have a 2, and if you wanted the units for the slope, the rise units would be a meter, the run unit would be a second. So you would have 6 divided by 3, which is 2 meters per second. Now this blue jogger has a rise of 3 meters divided by a run, which is across the bottom, the width of this triangle, which should be 3 seconds. So you're looking at 3 divided by 3, which is 1. And again, the units would be rise units divided by the run units would be meters per second. So 1 meter per second. So the slopes, what do they tell us? What do those units tell us? 2 meters per second, 1 meter per second. That tells us the average velocity. So by definition, the slope of a position time graph for an object is the average velocity of the object. And we can symbolize that, what we just discovered off of a position time graph. Instead of m for slope equals the change in y, we could go our d, our displacement is on the y, and divided by the delta x. That would be the slope formula, m equals delta y over delta x. Well, we can change that because the special graph that we talked about in a previous lesson, the position time graphs, gives us position and time, and that gives us our velocity. So we have an equation. V equals the change in position over change in time. So let's answer a question here. What is the slope? Remember, it tells us the answer to the question, what's the average velocity of this line? Here we got a slope. Notice it is going downhill. So what does it mean to have a negative slope? Negative slope, rise. It's a negative rise over a run. Well, let's think about what we did in the classroom with the motion detector. To go downward on the motion detector, we had to switch the direction that we walked, and that is exactly what would be going on here. So this object would not be traveling north, a positive slope. You would have to look up on top. A negative slope, you'd have to look on the bottom of the y-axis to determine the direction that you're traveling. So uphill, you got to look uphill. Downhill, you got to look downhill. South, the opposite of north would be south. So this object would be traveling south. All right, so average speed is defined to be just the number, the absolute value of the average velocity. So forget about the direction. The average speed is just the number. So we can ignore whether it's going uphill or downhill. So let's see if you understand here. This graph describes the motion of a student riding a skateboard north. That tells us he's going north. That tells us the top of this graph should have an N right here to represent north. And that means down here would be south. So the question is, what's his average velocity? So you got to find, this graph is a little bit rough looking, but you got to find a triangle. And it looks like if we could take this big triangle right here, looks like it goes right through that corner of that rectangle. So that would be a good triangle to draw. So rise would be this height of the triangle. Height would be 12 meters. The run would be 7 seconds. So we can calculate that slope to be 12 divided by 7, which gives us a 1.7 meters per second. Now it is a positive 1.7. We are going uphill. So the question says, what is his average velocity? So we have to interpret the sign of the 1.7 as this direction on the top of the y-axis, which is north. So to answer the question, what's the average velocity? It would be 1.7 meters per second north. And if you look at the average speed, it would be just 1.7 meters per second, no direction, just a scalar. All right, let's look at another one. This one looks a little bit confusing. It's underneath the axes and it's going down there. So the graph in the figure describes the motion of a cruise ship during its voyage through calm waters. It says the positive D direction is defined to be south. So if this is south up here, then the opposite of south would be north down here. So south is up here and north is down here, just to be confusing, I guess. So it says, what is this ship's average speed? So to get the average speed, we need the absolute value of the average velocity. Average velocity is the slope of this graph. So we've got to find an x and a y to work this rise over run. And it looks like it goes through right there at 3. And the run would be 3 with the horizontal, and the vertical, measuring that vertical line, we'd need the vertical scale, which looks like -1. So this is going to be a -1 over 3, which gives us a -0.33 as our velocity. And the negative, like I said before, negative refers to down here, whatever direction this was. So let's read that again. It says the positive D direction is north. That means, no, the positive is south. That means down here is north. So this would be north, -0.33 north. Oh, the question is, what's the average speed? So we don't need a direction. But if we were asked to find the average velocity, then it would be 0.33 meters per second north. All right, that brings us to instantaneous velocity. And this is your speed and direction of an object at a particular instant in time. When you're driving down the road and you look down at your speed, that's really measuring your instantaneous velocity. That is your velocity at an instant in time. So let's go back to what we're figuring out, what we're putting together for physics. So far, we could collect data to describe motion, distance, and time data. We could put it into a table, and then we could take that table and plot points. Now, when we plot the points, we can create a line if it's a linear relationship, and with that line, we can calculate the slope, which actually tells us the average velocity. The average velocity is the change in position over time. So this equation for slope actually is an equation that we can use to solve some things. So if we cross multiply, we can put that delta t up there with that v. And remember, delta means change in. So we have change in time, change in position, and they can be elaborated, final minus the initial, and your position is final minus the initial position. But since most of the time when you're timing things, you start at the zero, you start at the beginning, so we can just make our equation a little bit simplified. Now I'm going to let that di in there for a minute. That's your initial position. And I'm going to just add it to both sides and then use the reflexive property to flop it around like it was in a mirror. And that really looks like y equals mx plus b, where you got your position on the y-axis, you got your time on the x, and your slope, which is found right before the t, is your velocity, your average velocity. But we are going to take this one more step. We are going to get rid of the di and make it a nice, easy equation. So when the speed is not changing, we can use this constant velocity box, this little box, which contains three variables, dvt, given 2. You can calculate the third. For example, you're driving in a car, traveling at a constant velocity. You see a kid jump on the road. It takes you a certain amount of time to react before that foot comes off the brake. I mean, no, you don't want to come off the brake. You want to put it on the brake. You want to come off the gas. So it comes off the gas and onto the brake. So that time it takes your foot to move from the gas pedal to the brake pedal is 0.45 in this problem. So in the meantime, we're cruising at a constant velocity. So we can use this little box. So if it takes you 0.45 seconds to move your foot and you travel 11 meters, guess what? We can calculate that third unknown. That third unknown is your v. So plug them into that equation. D is your 11, 0.45 is your t. Divide both sides by what's connected to the variable, which would be the 0.45, and you end up with 11 divided by 0.45, you get 24 meters per second. That's how fast you're going. Times 2 1/4, you're looking at 48, maybe about 55 miles an hour. So you weren't speeding. The kid just jumped on the road. Did you hit him? I don't know. We'll see in chapter 3. All right, so anyhow, Jimmy John's learning how to ride his bike without training wheels. Good job, little Jimmy. Little Jimmy's riding his bike without training wheels. His father pushes him, and then Jimmy John continues. He's got it going. 3 meters per second is his speed, and he's continuing to maintain. That word right there, continues. That tells you the speed's not changing. So for that part of the motion, we can use a little box. 3 meters per second goes in for the V, and 6 seconds is how long he maintained that same speed. So guess what we can calculate? How far Jimmy John went. How far will answer the question, what is his displacement? So we can use our equation, D equals VT, throw in the V, throw in the T, multiply, you get 18. So we went 18 meter sticks. Not bad, Jimmy John. All right, let's see here. One more problem, and then you're on your own. So John Jacob by Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is not my name, too. But anyhow, first accelerates skating to 5 meters per second. So, no, that's not the same speed. If he increases speed to 5, then it's changing. All right, let's keep reading. Then continues at this speed. Right there. Same speed, we could use this little box. So he's at 5 meters per second, and he traveled 23 meters. Well, guess what we can calculate? How long he maintained that speed. So use your equation, throw the 23 and throw the 5 in, and divide each side by 5. You get that 4.6 seconds. So we can use this little box to describe motion that is moving at the same speed. So that's it, folks. That's velocity. Velocity is the slope of a position time graph. The absolute value of that slope is your average speed. But we can use that equation to solve for distance, velocity, and time questions when the speed is constant, when the speed doesn't change. And we can use that little box to house our knowns and unknowns. Remember, velocity is a vector and speed is a scalar. So velocity is the one with the direction, speed is the one ignore the direction or the sign of the slope. So that's it for chapter 2 until we get into 3. Take care.
Cowboy Joe, Cowboy Joe.